Normally, on a timeline in DaVinci Resolve, you're going to have multiple clips that need color grading. Some of those clips might be from the same location, the same time, and the same camera, which means they probably are going to need color grading exactly the same or maybe slightly differently. If you try and replicate the same color grade over multiple clips by moving the same controls, you're probably going to, number one, waste a lot of time, and number two, make some little mistakes, meaning that those shots or those clips won't actually look the same. But don't worry, I've got 4 ways that you can color grade clips the same in DaVinci Resolve, which is going to save you loads of time and make sure you get consistent color grades. Let's head into Resolve. In this timeline, we've got multiple clips recorded with multiple cameras in different locations. Some of the clips are the same in the same location with the same camera, but some of them, like this one, were shot in a different color space at a different time with a different camera. Let's head over to the color page and we'll start to color grade these. I'm going to click on clips so we can see the clips that we're working with. And method 1 is very quick and easy, but it's not the best. First thing we need to do is actually color grade one of these clips. So I'm going to open up the nodes. We'll do a very quick grade for this. We'll go and maybe increase the exposure a bit and increase the contrast and get the colors looking however we want. Now we've got that grade, we might want to use it on other clips. And I don't want to repeat all of that work over and over again. The first method is to simply copy color grades between clips. I'm going to click on this clip, move my mouse cursor over the clip that we just color graded. And by the way, you know if a clip has color grading because this little box gets a rainbow border around it. With my mouse over this clip, I'm going to click my middle mouse button. In this case, it's a scroll wheel that's clickable. And when I do that, it copies that color grade from this clip to the clip that we're currently working on. Now you can see in this clip, it's now looking too bright. So we can come back to this first node where we change the exposure, come back into our HDR palette, and we can get the exposure looking however we want. And if the color balance wasn't quite right in this shot, we could come to this third node and change the color balance. And here another problem is we made a mistake in this first color grade because we used the offset color wheel to change the color balance when we should have used the HDR wheel. I've got an entire video dedicated to making colors look correct in DaVinci Resolve, which explains why it's better to use the HDR global to tweak your colors. So this shows another limitation of this approach. Now we recognize that we've got this mistake. We'd have to come back to this, clear the offset, come to HDR, and then go and try and fix the color. Come back to this clip that we copied it to and do the same thing, reset that, come to the HDR and work with our global color. So that's the biggest disadvantage with this approach, is that you're just copying and pasting. There's no link, there's no live updating between clips. This is pretty useful though for quick color grading. You can also select multiple clips. I'm selecting all of these clips that were shot with S-Log3, and then I can simply middle mouse click on one of these clips that we just color graded. And now all of these clips have had that color grading applied. So it's super quick, but it's not ideal. The second method is to apply the same color grade to every single clip on the timeline. To do that, you need to click on this dot or use this drop-down list and select timeline. Right click and choose add node, choose corrector, and then join up this dot to the input and the output of this node to this green dot. Now, anything we do in this node will affect every single clip on the timeline. Or in other words, every single clip will share what happens in this node. What we put in this timeline section applies after all of the other color grading has happened. So you can still have color grading in individual clips, and then the timeline color grade gets added on top of it. So for example, we've got the color grade for these clips. Just head back to timeline. So let's go and make some changes here. I'm just going to do something that's a bit crazy just so you can see the effect. We'll just go and grab this global and we'll make everything really cyan. Now, if I move between all of these clips, you can see every single clip is now looking way too cyan. So the timeline section can be useful for a number of things, including adding a look that's common to all of the clips in the timeline. I'm just going to delete this node by hitting backspace. Now all of the clips are no longer cyan. Okay, let's move on to method 3, which is to use something called remote grades. The first thing I'm going to do is click on all of these clips where we had the color grade. Remember, this is where we copied the grades. We'll come up and make sure we're on the clip view. I'm going to right click in this area and choose reset all grades and nodes. When I do that, all of these clips go back to their washed out S-Log3 look, and you can see that none of these clips have that colored border on their numbers, which means they don't have color grades. I'm going to come back to this first clip, and I'm just going to get a copy of this node tree by right-clicking in the image and choosing Grab Still. Before I do that, I'm going to open the gallery by clicking here and make sure we're on this still section, and then right click on the image and choose Grab Still. And you can see we've got this thumbnail here. This thumbnail represents the color grade in all of these nodes, and I'll show you why I'm doing that in just a second. So I'm going to click on this clip, and I'm going to right click and reset that whole clip. Now we just got the basic single node that we get by default, and we don't have any color grading applied. I'm going to right click on this clip and choose Use Remote Grades. Nothing's happening now. We still have this empty node, but now I'm going to right click on this still, choose Apply Grade, so we get our nodes back. The next thing I'm going to do is move to this next clip. I'm going to right click on it, and for this clip, I'm going to choose Use Remote Grades and watch what happens. You can see that nothing has changed in the node tree, and we don't have a color grade. The reason for this is Remote Grades operates on the source clip or the source file. I'm going to go back to the edit page. I'm going to grab this clip and I'm going to split it into two parts. So it's the same video file on disk, the same clip, but just split into two sections, and we can come back to the color page and we can see now we've got these two clips. But notice this little icon underneath. This is telling us that we clicked this button to use remote grades. If I click on both of these clips, right click and choose Use Local Grades, that little pink icon disappears. So we're no longer using remote grades for these two. Let's go and apply this color grade. Now things are looking okay. We could of course tweak the exposure, but now I'm going to right click and choose Use Remote Grades, and the color grade disappears again because we're no longer using the grade that's local to this clip. We've now told DaVinci Resolve to reference a remote grade which is held in a central location, but that's fine. Let's go and right click and choose Apply Grade and watch what happens. Both of these clips are now sharing that color grade because both of these clips are using the remote grade that's shared for both of these. That means I could click on this one and we could come to the exposure and just watch what happens when I drop the exposure. You can see it's changing the exposure for both of these clips because all of the nodes here are nodes that exist in the remote grade. So whatever I do to one of these grades, or one of these nodes, happens to both clips. And you can see now we've got this beautiful color in these clips. Quick tip for you, if you've got loads and loads of clips in your timeline and you just want to see the clips that come from the same underlying video file, click this drop down and come down here to this common media pool source. When I click that, it's going to filter the list of clips to all of the clips that came from that original video file. In this case, it's just these two because we chopped that clip in half. And to clear the filter, click the drop down and choose all clips. All right, on to method 4. And this is kind of the best approach in my opinion in most cases, unless you've got a super simple timeline where you could use something like remote grades or the timeline section. Groups allow you to create your own groupings of clips, and for every clip in that group, apply the same color grade or share the same grade. First thing we need to do is right click and choose Use Local Grades, and we'll just make sure we've reset all the nodes and grades. And we'll just close the gallery for a minute. At the minute, we've just got two dots here. We've got the timeline section and we've got the clip section. And these dots just do the same thing as switching between things in this list. So make sure we're on the clip section, and we'll take these clips where we were using the Osmo Pocket 3. The first thing we need to do is create a group. To create a group, right click on a clip and choose Add into a new group. Click on that, and then you can give the group a name. Let's just say Pocket 3 and click OK. Now if I right click on this clip again, come up to groups, we've now got this Pocket 3 group. We can delete this group or rename it, and if we want to take this clip out of this group, we can choose Remove from Group. So what does it mean when a clip is part of a group? Well, look up here, we've got 4 dots now instead of the 2 we had. We've still got the clip and the timeline, but we've got these other dots. We've got this group pre-clip and group post-clip. The group pre-clip and the group post-script, and they also appear in this list, allow you to add nodes that are going to be common to every clip you add to that group. Let's go and add another group for these S-Log3 clips. I'm going to right click on this clip and we'll choose Add into a new group, and let's just call this S-Log3, click OK. When we click on these clips, you can see we've got this icon. This is telling us that this clip is part of a group. One way to use these pre-clip and post-clip groups is to do color space transforms and any common things that you want to add to the look. So let's go and quickly do that. We'll add a color space transform from S-Log3 to DaVinci Wide Gamut Intermediate, and then we'll change from the group pre-clip, which happens before, to the group post-clip, which happens after. Add another color space transform from DaVinci Wide Gamut to Rec. 709 Gamma 2.4, and watch what happens now. This image starts to look a bit more normal. The order of these dots shows you the order of the processing. Nodes in the group pre-clip section get processed first. Then we can do custom color grading for each clip in the clip section. Then in the group post-clip section, the nodes are applied. And finally, we've still got the timeline section, which is applied at the very end. So you can see these other S-Log3 clips haven't been affected yet. They still look washed out and they still look like S-Log3. So what I'm going to do is hold down Control and select all of these other S-Log3 clips and right click, come up to groups, find the S-Log3 group and choose Assign to Group, and watch what happens to all of these clips when I do this. They all now have a color grade applied, and they all now have the conversion from S-Log3 to Rec. 709, which is happening in the group pre-clip and the group post-clip. So does that mean that we can't make tweaks to each of the clips independently? Well, no, that's where the clip section comes in. So let's say all of these S-Log3 clips were deliberately under or overexposed. We can add a new node in the group pre-clip section, and anything we do here will apply to all of the clips in that group. So let's come down to our exposure, and just for argument's sake, let's say we want to reduce the exposure by half a stop, and let's add another node just so we can see what's happening where we want to change the color. I'm just going to go over the top here so you can see what's happening in the clips view. And you can see as I'm doing this, all of these clips have that purple color now. But what happens if we want to do something different on one of these clips? Let's take this clip with the tripod. What we can do is either click this dot here or choose clip from the drop-down list, and anything we do in the clip section only applies to that clip, regardless of whether it's in a group or not. So let's say for this clip, we just wanted to bring this back this way, maybe increase the exposure, and of course you could use multiple nodes for this. The point is, notice that those changes haven't applied to these other clips. It's only changed this one clip, even though it's part of that group, because we're working in this clip section and not group pre-clip, which is shared, or group post-clip, which is shared for all clips in that group. So groups are all well and good, but sometimes you want to try and make one clip look like another clip, in which case you need to compare them so you can actually see them side by side. And that's exactly what you'll learn about if you watch this video next. I'm Jason Roberts, this is DaVinci Dojo, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.